Hi guys, so I'm April Grace, author of Still Princess. I'm new to this group and new to this whole PR thing with Michael Evan. Um, but it's my first little Q&A. It's supposed to be live, but I have really bad cough, so I thought I would just do a little video. It gives me more time to sort of edit or go back off if I need to. So yeah, I'm just gonna answer some questions, and then once I've done that, if you guys want to leave any questions in the comments, obviously I can always answer them from there. So my first novel, Still Princess, is about a teenage android. So the journey that so the first question is, tell us about the journey that led to your first published work. So this one has quite a long journey. So I've been writing it over 12 years roughly. I'm 29 and I've been writing it since I was like in sixth form, so maybe a little bit more than that over time. um, 16, 17 sort of age. Um, but yeah, so I've been writing it for, I wrote it when I was in sixth form, and it was like a futuristic version of the UK at the time, about teenage androids. So it's kind of like our world, but with slight futuristic stuff in it, where she would go across to the US and try and find the scientist that built her. And then in 2020, I decided to add a fantasy side of the book, because that was when I really started reading a lot of fantasy, and I loved like the idea of like princesses being returned to their stolen homes or the homes they've come from. And that's what happens with Silver here. Her name was also Silver in the previous book, the previous version, but it was quite cool in the previous one because I sent it off to an editor at Penguin and I managed to get like an R&R, which was pretty cool. So I basically revise and resubmit. Um, so I sent it back a year later and got a full request. And it didn't go very well after that. I had some lovely feedback, but it didn't quite work. But I spent years and years querying the book, and then later on I decided to just give it a go and do it myself, self-publish it. I'm an editor, so I'd seen lots of my clients having done this. They'd gone down the self-publishing route, and it turned out quite well for a lot of them. And I thought, why not give it a try myself? I asked one of my friends who'd also done the same thing, and she gave me all the steps that she did. So finding ARC readers, editors, cover designers, all that jazz. And I did I took a lot of the names that she used, but then I also did my own research, found my own cover designer, editor, and stuff. And it took like a whole year, that whole process of actually publishing. So question 2 is, describe your book or series that you're currently focused on. So my second book that I'm working on right now is a dark Snow White retelling called The Girl Behind the Glass. Beautiful cover. I've also had it edited, and I'm in my final big stages of editing it. So after this draft, I'll only have to do a proofread, and that'll be pretty much it for that book. But it's a dark Snow White retelling, as if in the perspective of Snow White character, and also a character of my own who is her stepsister. And then they also have a lot of witches that they meet, and there's a lot of personal secrets coming out about who they are. And yes, I'm hoping that book will be out in the next couple of months, but the editing's taken me a little while, and I'm still yet to get some character art, which I have in Still Princess. I can show you actually while I'm on the subject. There's Eden, and Silver is here somewhere. And there is Silver. So Eden is the other character, the Still Princess. He's like a bot in the palace, so he builds and repairs the androids and the nobles and the royals. Okay, so that's number 2. Question 3 is, who are some of your biggest writing influences? I have so many, because I've been writing since I was a teenager. So I would say that Sophie Mackenzie is a big one. She writes a lot of YA contemporary stuff that sort of branches into thrillers and also like not supernatural but like slightly other things. Like there's a book series that she's got where there's like a superhero-esque thing, only it's like more like superpowers rather than superheroes. And then there's another one like with cloning themes, so more kind of like sci-fi scientific but not really, more just like lighter edge. I was reading all that at the time. Mallory Blackman's Noughts and Crosses series was a big thing. Fantasy series, Edith Pateau, Northchild was a great fantasy adventure book that I loved when I was younger. So those are probably my biggest influences in terms of my writing. How much of your own personality and people you know in your personal life make it into your writing? This one, I don't tend to really put people in there into my books intentionally, but I suppose like subconsciously as an author, you're always going to have parts of yourself in your book. So I've got a character in my work in progress, the Snow White retelling, who has 12 younger sisters, and they're all like different ages. She's one of my witches, and yeah, so her being a big sister is a big thing. I am a big sister. I'm the oldest sister. She loves just looking after her little ones, so I suppose that's part of it. I'm also very bookish, so a lot of my characters end up being bookish as well. And just a few other elements that come into it. The next question is, if you could have a drink and a conversation with any author, living or dead, who would it be and why? I'm not really sure, to be honest. I have way too many. Lots of like fantasy books, authors that I really like, that write in my genre. But I've also spoken to some really nice authors online. Michelle Kenny's a really nice author. Her Book of Fire series is great, and I ended up reviewing her book on Twitter, and then, or I met her through Twitter, and then I ended up speaking to her through Instagram, and she's now on my Instagram page. She's really nice. But yeah, I'm not really sure who I would speak to per se, but probably one of the authors that I mentioned, like Mallory Blackman or Edith Patel, who's the author of the Northchild series, because I just really enjoyed that book, and that's probably the book that got me into writing fantasy. Next question is, what is your favourite movie? What is your favourite band musician? All-time favourite is probably going to be Willow, and also Labyrinth. Those are like my 2 favourite all-time films. Cool story about Willow is my nan's cousin, Patricia Hayes, was one of the main actresses in that. She was the good witch that gets turned into a goat towards the end of the film. And what is your favourite band or musician? Again, I don't really have one. I change my music all the time. I always listen to music while I write, but it's just a lot of stuff that I just find on YouTube. Do you have a particular market or audience involved when you write, or do you just write what you like and hope that readers come along for the ride? So yeah, I always write for young adults, but I also know that a lot of young adult fiction is read by older adults like myself. I'm 29 now and I still love YA, and I will probably will always love it. There's just something a lot more imaginative that I find, or a lot more, well, not even imaginative, but just a lot more, I don't know, something about the storylines always draws me to the genre and writing in the genre. So the next question is, recommend some indie fantasy sci-fi that you've recently enjoyed for our community. I have a lot of books that I love. I've been reading on fantasy. If you like book recommendations, I have a YouTube channel. Just April Grace Reads is the handle, and I'm constantly reviewing books on there. I'm trying to do books every week for this year. It's been one of my resolutions for 2023. So yeah, I always talk about books on there. But Poisoned by Jennifer Donnelly was a recent one. One of my recent favourites that is becoming an all-time favourite because it's constantly in my head is a series beginning with Gilded by Marissa Geyer, and then I've forgotten the sequel's name, but it's a retelling, as most of her books are actually, of Rumpelstiltskin. Really, really good, and I just love how gothic and ghostly this series is, but just a really enjoyable read. So I'd definitely check her out. Jennifer Donnelly is also another one. She's really good with like retellings if you like that sort of stuff. Yeah. What do you have coming up next? What can readers look forward to in the next year or so? As I said, I've got my Dark Snow White retelling, The Girl Behind the Glass. And then after that, I'm going to be working on Steel Princess's sequel, which is going to be called Songbird Air. And it's going to focus more on one of the other characters in the book that isn't a narrator in this. She will be a narrator for the next one. And then, yeah, so that's my focus for the while. I also have a lot of other retellings planned for the same world, and also some of the characters that pop up in it, in My Girl Behind the Glass, will be in other books, and so on. So they'll all pop up in their own stories, but they'll have their own, focuses, and they'll have sequels and prequels and things like that. So I have a lot of plans for a lot of books to write. Next one. What one piece of advice can you offer to new and aspiring authors? It's a cliche one, but I would just say keep writing what you like to read. That's the bit of advice that I always hear, and it's great. Just I think they say to write the book that you want to see on the shelf. So definitely do that. Just write what you love. When I was growing up, and I was reading a lot of Sophie Mackenzie and Mallory Blackman, I was writing that sort of stuff. And then as I started reading fantasy, while I was at uni, I was studying creative writing. I started writing fantasy or branching out to fantasy. And I work in a school, so I work with young adults, teenagers, and whenever I see a student that's been writing or says they enjoy writing, it gives me a nice warm feeling inside, because I'm like, that's what I was like as a teenager. And that's what I want to do for people that are also getting into writing. Okay, next question. Where can people find you online, and what's your preferred method of interacting with your readers? So like I said, I have YouTube, which is April Grace Reads. I also have TikTok, which I'm using a lot. I have hundreds of videos on both of those channels. TikTok is April Grace Author. And then I also Instagram's April Grace 1. Twitter, April Grace Reads, same as my YouTube. So basically Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. They're all my big ones. I'm definitely always big on YouTube and Instagram, TikTok, so they're probably my main ones. But I also like to talk to people on Twitter as well, because there's a big bookish community on there. I've been getting into a lot of YouTube, TikTok live streams actually as well recently, which is really cool, with some authors I've met. I love doing that. So yeah, this was my little Q&A video. If you have any other questions for me, please do drop them in the comments, and I will respond as quickly as I can. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat. But yeah, that was my video. I suppose a little introduction video as well because I'm so new to this community. But I have really enjoyed the last few weeks of getting involved and seeing everyone's posts and seeing, you know, what's been going on with things. I have a few ebooks to read as well, so I'm excited about that. And yeah, I'm just excited to get involved. So thanks guys, and I will see you very soon.